think we'll start with Molly Qerim.
Ooh, she's out of there.
Yesterday when we talked, we knew that she was leaving, but we didn't know she was leaving like immediately, which is an indication that, man, this thing's a bit more complicated than just they couldn't settle on the money. It just seems more seriously. She's off the show now. ESPN's put out a statement. Stephen A. Smith had something to say. Let's play Stephen A. Smith, and then we'll react.
Last night, she abruptly resigned as the host of the show. And to say that I'm quite sad about it is an understatement. Molly is a friend. Molly is a coworker. Molly is somebody that I have leaned on many occasions in the past, as she has done when it comes to me. We've been partners on the show for the last 10 years. And a lot of times some of these things happen and it's just uncomfortable to see. The details, quite frankly, are none of y'all business. But it's not as if I know all the details. It was a contract negotiation that was going on. ESPN certainly did not want to lose her. But in the event, but in the end, rather, she made a decision to walk away from the show effective immediately. As you see from her Instagram post, that story is for her to tell. Do I have an idea? Of course I do. Am I going to share it with you? No. Because again, that's her story to tell.
So let me start the speculation. When I heard that it was immediate, I was like, oh, she must already have a job lined up. And the job that she has lined up must be some sort of competitor to ESPN. And so that made me, is she going to Fox Sports? Is Amazon Prime going to put together Molly Qerim and Max Kellerman and someone else and do their version of First Take? Is she going to host one of these league shows on one of these Amazon or Netflix or whatever? And ESPN, all right, so you're going to do that. We're going to let you go immediately. The other thing I thought, Steve, was when you pay Stephen A. Smith $20 million, that means, okay, well, whoever his co-host is, they're going to want an exorbitant amount of money. And so she may have been making $2.5, $3 million as the host. Well, when Stephen A. is sitting there making 20, well, maybe now she wants to make 10. And maybe ESPN will, oh, we'll pay you 5, Molly. And then on the same day, Malika Andrews gets a new contract, or it gets announced, and I'm sure Molly said, well, they paid Malika this. Mina Kimes is making nearly $2 million for cluttering up a football show. I just, when Stephen A. sits atop and you're paying him $20 million, it just raises everyone else's expectations and frustrations. So those are my two initial thoughts on why it's over so abruptly and so quickly for Molly Qerim.
Jason, I actually watched that whole video clip of Stephen A. Smith. I just thought it was funny. It ain't none of y'all business. It was a contract negotiation. Well, so that was about the money. Thanks, Stephen. Thanks for cluing it. It's always about the money, though. It's like in boxing. Why didn't this fight happen? Easy. There wasn't enough money. Seriously. Like, even if you think you can't win that fight, you pay a guy enough money, they're going to try their best, but they want that money. So it's obviously the money matters. And I do think you make a good point. Most people have a rational thought process. Okay, if he's the alpha, everyone else has a place. But there is a belief that, hey, if you elevate your pay scale and I'm only going to get 30% of what you're getting as the star, guess what? My 30% has to elevate with whatever you're getting. I kind of do understand that. And Jason, I was a little bit stunned because we talked about the whole Molly Qerim situation in the morning. We're thinking, okay, it's going to play out and there's going to be a grand farewell, celebration show, goodbye. And she just Dear John'd him. She said, out. I was like, wow. So obviously this is pretty obvious. At least from Molly's point of view, I don't think it was the most amicable split.
Well, let's remember, what did just last week Stephen A was on air bragging about the people he stood up for to get paid and how many,
Mm.
Cam, I did it for Shannon Sharp and I did it for this person and that person. And when I look at the abrupt, like, nah, I'm not coming into work tomorrow,
Yeah.
that also is like maybe there's pointing a finger at Stephen A. Smith.
Yeah.
I mean, you can play it out to the end of the year and move on to your next deal, but when you don't come in, it makes me think maybe Stephen A. is a part of her frustration.
Well, part of that clip of Stephen A. Smith yesterday that dealt with this subject, he went on this diatribe about how everyone has a boss, that everyone has someone that they have to be accountable for, and no one's ever completely free. I thought that was a kind of an interesting segue that he had in terms of the Molly Karam situation. And now that you say it, I'm thinking, are those two things connected? That then maybe Stephen A says, "Hey, I have great value. She's our point guard. I'm comfortable with her." Maybe the higher up said, "Hey, look, Stephen A, you got the money. The budget is the budget." And maybe this is just a theory, just my opinion. Maybe he wanted Molly Karam to get a little extra money, but again, it's not his money. It's not his budget.
Final thought. Uh, I don't know if you saw this. I missed it last week. Haven't thought, but I have been wondering about. Hey, how's that Wake Up Barstool show doing on Fox Sports?
Oh, it's on.
And I just happened to run into last week. I think Awful Announcing printed a story. Others printed a story that in the first week of that show, they never eclipsed 20,000 viewers. I think they
Mm.
got 20, 13, 13, and 20. I think Craig Carton was doing those type numbers. I think the facility was doing better numbers than that. And I'm not saying this as a diss of Barstool Sports and Dave Portnoy. I'm saying it as the reality. What a lot of these television executives are going to have to wrap their brains around is that the internet and YouTube,
Yeah.
and so it's not the same as mainstream
Nope.
TV. And just because something works on the internet doesn't mean it's going to work on mainstream TV. There are elevated expectations for mainstream TV. There's a level of